Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Hug Nation's Love Morning. It's a Love Ambassador meetup. And I am so grateful to have a moment to connect, hopefully hear from you, to remember that no matter where we are physically, we have the opportunity to be connected in intention. It doesn't matter where your feet are, it matters where your heart is. And we can be sharing space in this land called Hug Nation. I am John Halcyon. I am the host of Love Mornings and the Hug Nation YouTube channel and the Heart Centered Men's gatherings. So I'd like to spend a few moments this morning sharing gratitude and setting our sights for the day, having a little meeting with ourselves, reminding ourselves who we want to be today. But it would buck tradition if I didn't start with a song that I make up right now. So as we sing about the things that make us happy and feel good, we do things, we build them with plastic and wood. And if it's happy and it makes us feel good, that's another thing I shouldn't have done should. The rhyming isn't easy when I make it up on the spot. Yeah, let's just stop there and consider that one a swing and a miss. Good morning, Juan. Good morning. Welcome to this day, this hump day. Ta-da! I am quite filled with gratitude today. I had a stellar, exciting, growth-filled day yesterday that I am looking forward to sharing a little bit about. How was your day? How was your moment? Anything happened yesterday? Boy, after we shared yesterday's Love Morning, I recorded some new Stay Sparked episodes with Betsy. And if you don't know Betsy, you are in for a treat. Betsy's amazing. Please check out Stay Sparked on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And if it's not wherever you get your podcasts, let me know so I can make sure that is remedied. And we do, weekly episodes of ways to stay inspired in the modern world. And it's very much the tone of these gatherings, but with extra special juice because it's also got Betsy's unique and wonderful flavor, her effervescence, and she's an inspiring person. And I think we've got good chemistry. And we decided yesterday to start a new series of, like a Sparkle series that are shorter. Usually our episodes are about 45 minutes, an hour. And we decided to record some 10-minute-ish, 8 to 12-minute episodes of just little boosts to your day, little things you can listen to while doing a task or something. And we recorded 4 of them yesterday, and we'll be releasing them once a week. And it was fun. They were sprints. They're fun. They're good. One of them was on what is a love ambassador, which hopefully you have a sense of that if you're here, because whether it was consensual or not, you've been deputized as being a love ambassador. Good morning, Gerbot. Good morning, Brent. Thank you for being here today on this glorious Wednesday. So it was fun to answer the question, what is a love ambassador? For me, I like the reminder each day that we are all fully qualified to add love to the world, to bring love into all of our interactions and our choices. And that isn't a burden. It's just a reminder so that we can keep in the back of our minds the person we want to be as we go into the day and have opportunities to make choices and to respond. And recognizing that even if we feel like we are so flawed and we have so much work to do, being a love ambassador does not require you to finish all your schoolwork and get all your accreditations. It just means that when you have the resources, be kind. And that includes to yourself. Sometimes the most impactful love ambassador undertaking you can do is to be compassionate to yourself, to be forgiving of yourself. Sometimes a love ambassador is the part of you that says, hey, it's okay if you stay in bed. It's okay if you don't call that person back. It's okay. Good morning, Echo. And good morning, Darren. So my big dilemma yesterday was I had two awesome activities that were conflicting. My in-person men's group was meeting last night, and Lisa's Wholehearted Choir was meeting last night. And I had to pick which one I was going to attend. Now, if I just listen to what I want to do, what feels good, I go to my men's group. I love those guys. We've known each other for years. It's like hanging out with friends and having deep conversations with people I respect. It's nourishing. It's uplifting. I love those men. And choir, on the other hand, is anxiety producing. It makes me feel uncomfortable. All these stories about I'm not good at this, I can't memorize things, I struggle with that. And then when I'm in the room, because I've been to a couple practices already, and I don't remember the words, I so quickly get this physical like tensing and heat feeling, and it's this uncomfortableness. It's similar to a social anxiety feeling, and I don't like it. And so in choosing one activity that will feel good and one that won't feel good, old me, the answer would be obvious. Do what feels good. But old me was a bit of a hedonist, and there are limitations to your life if you get too comfortable. So I've been really trying to be aware of when I am avoiding discomfort. In fact, in the men's group on Sunday that I led, one of the participants I don't know how he said it, but he was like, so often when I am resistant to head in the direction of some choice or activity because I know it's going to be hard or uncomfortable, that's how I know that's what I got to do. That's the path of growth. And as he said it, I was just like, I know that, but I still resist. I don't want to. And so I was it was surprising how whipped up I was and how much physical sensations I was feeling of trying to make this decision. So that you understand the context, I talked to somebody in my men's group. I had talked to Lisa. Nobody was going to be upset if I wasn't there. Everybody understood, like, hey, you do you. And so I was making the decision based on what I thought was best for me. And if I was feeling down or sad or needing some support, I think the men's group would have been where I should have gone as an act of self-care. But I was feeling pretty resourced, feeling pretty strong coming off the weekend, and feeling like maybe I have it enough that I can sit in discomfort for a few hours. And part of the anxiety and discomfort is because I'm not prepared. I have not been practicing the songs. I have not memorized the songs. One of the reasons is because I have a story that I can't memorize the songs. But as I started to psych up and go, maybe I'm going to go, maybe I'm going to go, I'm going to go, maybe I'm going to go, I started studying the songs we're supposed to know by last night. and I was listening to them over and over, and I was listening to them over and over, and I was writing down the lyrics, and I was practicing, and I was listening to them over and over. And really, that in and of itself was a big deal for me. I am not much of a practicer. If you may have noticed, I don't show up during these mornings with a script or a plan. Almost everything I do, I maybe have some ideas and then I just get in the flow and trust. But that doesn't work if you're singing a song with everyone else and there are specific lyrics. It works fine when you improv, right? People say, oh, you don't like singing? I go, well, actually I sing every morning, but I make up the lyrics so that it bypasses my fears and insecurities about memorization. And this choir series, it's a collaboration with a band called Ma Muse, these two incredible women. And they stayed with us last night. So they were over at the house before practice. And they're like, oh, so you're just going to hang out and chill tonight? I'm like, I was like, I totally like went into confessional mode and was like, bah! Like, I'm really afraid. I think of this. And the more I talked about it, the more I realized if I don't go to choir, it will be because of fear. And at the most basic level, I know the path that I want to be walking is love more, fear less. And not going to choir was a fear-based option. So I committed, and I told my mom, who's in the choir, I go, Mom, you want to pick me up? We can go together. I went to choir with my mom. Lisa and Ma Muse were there, and so many other people I knew. In fact, there was 3 people from my men's group. Not the men's group that was meeting last night, but the men's group that I led over the weekend that were there. And I had a great time. I practiced enough that I could sing. I could sing without getting that flushed, tense, insecure feeling. You know, I was able to let it out and kind of be in the moment a bit and be a part of this 100-person choir and hear, which makes it a lot easier, by the way. It's not like I was soloing and if I made any mistake, it'd be like, ugh. It was, if I didn't know a word, I could just mumble it and it got lost in the choir, which is another thing I need to remember. And it felt so good. I was so proud of myself. I feel like it was definitely the right decision. I certainly hope my men's group understands that it was, partially their inspiration, their role modeling of being a man of integrity and not running from your fears that was the reason why I went to sing in a choir instead of join them last night. And I think it has significant rippling additional effects just in chipping away at these stories that I have of what I can't do and what I'm not good at. So stay tuned. As it stands right now, I am in a choir with a performance a few months away. So stay tuned. Thanks for being here and your patience as I shared a little bit about my experience. Good morning, Sarah. Sarah says, how I wish I could be there to sing with Lisa and Ma Muse. If you don't know Ma Muse, you can look them up on, wherever. They're recording artists, and it's really beautiful music. Really, they're so good. So some of last night was like, because we're singing their songs, or like half the songs we're singing in the choir series are theirs, and so they came to tell stories behind their songs and then sing it and sing with us, and then at the performance they'll be there too, so we'll get to sing with Ma Muse. But we got to sing with Ma Muse last night, and it was so cool because they're such neat women, to hear them feel and respond to what it feels like for them to be joined by, these 90 voices sharing their music. Sherry says, your experience with choir has been like my relationship with math. I'm taking a math class and leaning into the discomfort, and it's making the successes and learning much more deeply satisfying since it's such a lifelong challenge. I'm grateful for taking on math. Yeah! Awesome, Sherry. Kudos to both of us. I'm aware that if I have, regrets in my life, it is that my discomfort with trying new things has kept me from trying many, many, many things. And it's not too late. I still got a lot of years left to embrace beginner's mind and try new things. I don't think math is on my list, but I appreciate that each of our El Guapo is unique. Gerbot says, fear is the mind killer. So true. And it's really, Lisa tries to help me understand that it's my fear of not knowing the words that is my biggest obstacle. Like if I just allowed and trusted my kind of inner knowing, it would be a lot easier than me having part of my brain being like, oh, don't forget the words. Am I going to forget the words? Oh, I don't know the next word, as opposed to like, Lisa just trusts, and she knows thousands of songs, and she just starts singing and just trusts that it will come to her. But she's a whole different species of, I don't know, she's an alien. Good morning, Dustin! 2 more days till I leave San Diego after liquidating my life due to my wife and I parting ways. So grateful that we are doing this amicably. She is an amazing woman, but we simply had been on different paths for far too long. I respect the hell out of her, and I'm trying to find the right words to say Friday morning as I walk away. Oh, wow. After almost 35 years of marriage, what do you even say? Neither of us wanted this, but it had to happen. I respect her so much. She's beautiful. She works extremely hard in her career, and I truly hope she finds someone who truly fills her life with love and happiness. Oof. This is tough to even know how to care for her in the best way as I walk out the door, taking literally nothing with me. I'm leaving a 2,600 square foot house, and my entire physical belongings that are going with me fit into a space of 4 by 4 by 6 feet, with a third of it being Burning Man gear and a third being ski gear. But again, I am truly stumped by how to approach this goodbye. Wow, Dustin. I have no idea how to advise or suggest. I think the first thought I had, it would be try to release your story that moment is critical. It often what we do in our narratives is we amplify specific moments. Like sometimes when someone dies, we fixate on the last phone call we had with them. And this last conversation or this goodbye, I don't think you need to have the right words. How do you, as you said, how can you possibly how could words communicate all that is a part of this action? And one thing that I've got to saying to anyone when I say goodbye is, until next time. Not sure if that fits in this situation, but it just seems to leave the door open to, if we never see each other, if we do. But I'm open to reconnecting in the future, whenever that may be. Good fortune to you. Until next time. I super admire your heart and your clarity and your commitment to you in your life, even in the face of so much uncertainty. Bravo. Bravo. Getting to the thank you, Gerbot. Fear Beast. Yeah, the choir was my Fear Beast. I have behind me a huge blow up of a picture of me with her. Thank you, Sarah. Hey, Chris. Chris says, grateful for the resources and the time to take my vintage race car out this weekend to race with my vintage car club. Hoping for safety and fun. Yay. Awesome, Chris. You're so welcome, Sherry. I'm so glad that maybe glad it's so clear to me that the human experience is infinitely varied and quite simply overlapping and parallel. Whatever our journeys are, we have the same obstacles of fear and uncertainty and self-judgment and pride and ego and our upbringings and our doubts and whatever, all the human stuff, our reactivity, we all have these complicated collections of stuff. It's, one of the byproducts of being raised by human beings who are filled with stuff. And so we get stuff. And if we can acknowledge that and maybe even find a way to see that as normal, not broken, not an example of why we're in need of healing, but just this is the normal experience of being a human being, is all sorts of struggles and obstacles and forgetting and remembering and joy and triumph and loss and failure and grief. And then we can kind of celebrate it no matter what it is. We can kind of be grateful for having the experiences, grateful that we have the ability to learn and grow from whatever's happening. And the bonus is that when we find community and we have a safe enough container that people can actually share their truth, then we're not just these single limited consciousness trying to figure out this massive complicated world. We have multiple data points, all these different perspectives that we get to go, oh, okay, that's how it is from your perspective. That's so similar. Or, oh, I see how it's different. Oh, that gives me some context. Oh, well, that means I don't have to worry so much about this. Or, oh, really, there might be that on the other side of this thing that I'm going through. Well, look at that. Thank you, honest, vulnerable fellow human, for being truthful and honest and so gorgeously human that it helps me to be human better. Thank you. Chris said, I had to miss choir practice this week. Now I'm jealous that you went and I didn't because it sounds like it was amazing. I mean, it was amazing partially for me because I practiced and I overcame a big hump, but it was also amazing because Mom Muse was there. Lisa kind of was more focused on let's feel the songs more so than drill the different parts. We did do that some, but it was more about singing these songs with their creators and the writers. And I mean, I don't know if I've ever done that before. It was I really love the women in Mummies too. They're awesome, and they're awesome friends with Lisa, and I love seeing their love for each other and their dynamic and their support. This there's something between like musicians that I envy. Maybe it's not the right word, but I certainly appreciate. Anybody else want to share any gratitude that they have in this moment? Something that happened yesterday or something you're feeling today? Maybe something that just it's an everyday thing that you're taking for granted. I'm grateful that I was told that I look younger than the last time they saw me when I did not have a beard. So I'm like, that's unusual for someone to say that I look younger now. Not that I'm trying to look younger, I'm not. Echo says, I'm grateful that I made it to Ecstatic Dance and Drum Circle out at Red Rocks yesterday. That sounds fun. It was such a beautiful gathering and connection with community. It feels weird to say it here as we are digitally connected, but in-person connection is so important, and in my mind, just getting more and more and more important. The energetics of presence with other humans is profoundly important. Sarah says, the more you sing the songs, the more lyrics will be embedded in your being. The songs will then sing you and come through you at times. You didn't even know you needed them. I'm also grateful for the years I sang with Sister Monica and my choir in Santa Cruz. By far, one of the highlights of my life, and singing with my choir was incredibly healing on so many levels, not just for me, but for those that came to listen to us. I so wanted to attend Lisa's Mamuse choir workshop. I hope I will be able to do it with Lisa in the future. It's probably the most important thing I could do at this point in my life. And Shara says, I loved choir. I was the only thing I was well at high school. This is a very new one for me. Choir has never been a part of my life except in Sunday school, and where I was intentionally bad and got kicked out. That scars you. I'm grateful for Betsy, my co-host of Stay Sparked, and her inspiration, as well as she redid our branding. So Stay Sparked has a new kind of brand for us with some new pictures and fonts and colors. So stay tuned for that. Going to be uploading the newest episode today. And oh my goodness, I'm grateful for Caleb, my nephew Caleb. Today is his birthday. I spent some of the morning watching old videos of us together when he was, 3, and when he was 7, and when he was 10. Watching old videos of Awesome News Network, which was a YouTube channel we did for a while, where I was like his producer. I would research a feel-good news story, tell him about it, and then record him as he did the news of something feel-good. It was pretty adorable. Kirbot is grateful for health, and loving and supportive friendships. Thank you, Sarah. I don't know if you heard today's improv song, but it was not good. I rhymed wood with wood twice, and then, no, I won't say it wasn't good. It was nothing that I would record. It wouldn't make my best of hits, I'll just say that. Well, I'm grateful to share a little bit of this day and this practice and the nature of being a love ambassador. Since I mentioned it in Stay Sparked several times, I will remind myself that part of this love morning practice is to have an appointment with myself, with ourselves, and say, who do we want to be today? Let's see, today is Wednesday. I've got a phone interview in 30 minutes with someone who's writing a article for a magazine about Casey Nicole, which is a woman who, it's an early fraud that happened online that I was kind of in the center of. I hired a woman when I worked at College Club, and she worked for me for like over a year and a half. Not a woman, it was a high school kid. And then the kid got leukemia, and then the child died, and we were pretty close. And then it turned out there never was a girl named Casey Nicole. It was a persona being lived by a middle-aged, lonely woman, and she would spend hundreds of hours on this college website pretending to be a young cheerleader, doing tons of unpaid labor for me. It was a very, very strange chapter. So I'm going to look forward to that and trying to be present, but also not over people pleasing. Like, I like to be helpful, but there's no reason I should spend too much time if I'm not enjoying it. I am going to today try to be positive and complimentary to people. I'm going to be kind to myself. I want to be conscious of my body and try to be good to my physical well-being for the future. I want to look for opportunities to be friendly and say hello to people and add little boosts of love and light to anyone I might encounter today. That's my game plan. Thank you, Michael. It was not only was it good that I went, I enjoyed myself. Yeah, this was before Catfish was even a name. It's if you look it up, Casey Nicole is they used to teach it in like online classes. It was like because when she got leukemia, like I encouraged her to start a blog, and and her blog got quite a following of this young girl that was dying of leukemia. And then when she died, Metafilter, if you remember that, it was like a Reddit precursor site. People on Metafilter were like, wait a minute, how come there's no obituary? And then people started accusing me of making her up, and they accused other people of like making her up. And then there's this whole like online detective process that figured out what had happened until the woman confessed. But it was now it's pretty well known that kind of stuff can happen online pretty easily. But it was an early case, which didn't mean, just because I was at the center of that did not mean that I didn't get catfish several times more. In fact, you know what? Too much for this story, but I have paid the optimism tax several times in over-trusting people. Gerbot says, grateful for 3D printers and creative, enterprising people who created a bunny wheelchair that we ordered to help our bunno get around. Whoa, that's so cool. I think I need to get into online print or 3D printing a little bit. I just got a delivery yesterday of a whole bunch of lighting equipment that I am going to try to create a green screen studio. I actually started yesterday trying to clean up the studio space and quickly realized that I need help. Oh, something just happened, I think. Uh-oh. I'm not sure. A light just went off. Interesting. Okay. Well, maybe in case I do have an issue with my tech, and we've been going for a while, if you're still with me and you can still hear me wherever you are, let's give ourselves a big old squeeze. Feel connected in this moment beyond the physical, feeling the vibration of my voice, feeling these arms holding me as I hold you, as we hold all of us who are here in this moment, taking a deep breath together. And squeezing, and feeling connected and part of this oneness. behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us, thanks for being here for our Love Ambassador morning on Hug Nation. I love you. Oh, cool. So working, by the way, I think I figured out what happened with the audio. The battery died on one of like the receiver or one of them. And so so then it was picking up a radio station. And in fact, I got a notification from YouTube yesterday saying that I can't, you've been flagged because you used an Eminem song in your broadcast. And I was like, what? I'm like, oh crap, the Eminem song must have been coming through the receiver. And so I violated, copyright. But I think I refreshed the batteries and they're rechargeable batteries, so I'm not gonna don't send me any hateful mail. Thanks, Dustin. Thanks, Pierbot. Thanks, Sherry. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, anyone else who might still be here. Echo. Happy Wednesday. See you later.